Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. I may have mentioned, no, I really did mention, that EPSON printers do have an advantage over Canon printers in this one regard. As you all know, printers generate waste ink, and that is due to cleaning cycles that may be needed. Canon printers generate them pretty much automatically as needed in order to keep your printer free of clogs. Not so much with Epson printers unless you wait a specific amount of time. In other words, a month maybe on a large format printer. When you restart the printer, it will generate a cleaning cycle just to kind of help you in case you have a clog. It doesn't really know you have a clog yet until you run a nozzle check. Well, this ink has to go somewhere. Now, on printers that have stationary cartridges from Epson, those printers are usually provided to you with user replaceable waste ink cartridges or tanks. Now, on printers that have cartridges that write on the printed, that is different. That ink that is generated, the waste ink, goes to the internal waste ink pads. Now, there are ways for you to disassemble certain panels and access those tubes that lead to the waste ink pads, and then reroute them outside to a bottle so that you can collect your waste ink rather than dumping it internally. So there are videos that show you how to do that on YouTube and also on octoink.co.uk. There's a series of instructions because they also sell a tool that will allow you to then reset that waste ink counter. Now, what happens? Let's get to the point here. What happens when the ink counters reach max? Your printer ceases to work. It has reached the end of its life, at least that part of its life. So you need something to be able to regenerate, to bring it back to life again. And that's where certain tools come in. And I'm going to demonstrate 3 of them, from the most difficult ones to the sort of difficult one, and then the most simple way for you to reset. And it's not just because I have become friends with them. Inkchip.net provides you the quickest, easiest way to reset your counters back to 0, meaning that your printer is going to think it's brand new. Now, it's imperative that you reroute those tubes outside. In fact, do it before any of this happens. Do it before you reach that point where the printer just ceases to operate. That way you will keep those pads, at least for the life of the printer from now on, super clean. All right, let's begin. Now, the first one we're going to examine is the adjustment programs. What is that? Well, it is a tool used by the technicians at a service center to perform all sorts of different operations. They're a little bit dangerous to use in unexperienced hands, but I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do if you happen to own one of these tools, how to reset your counters. We're going to go through a mock reset because I have already done it on a specific video that I provided inkchip.net. On the R2000, they have also provided me with 3 extra keys. We're going to utilize those for the Epson R2880 and the 1400, either the 1400, 1430, and also the R3000. So I have to bring those over here, connect them to my computer, and we'll proceed to create 3 videos that I will be uploading within the next few weeks. All right, so let's jump right into it. We'll open up the folder. Now you see there's a lot of stuff here. Don't let that scare you. Now, when you download these, let me warn you, often they will be seen as a virus or even a Trojan. You have to allow the file to exist. The reason being, these are hacking programs. These are system hacking programs that the technicians use in order to allow them to perform all of these functions on the printer's EPROM chip. Now, for us to be able to utilize these, they had to hack it in a way that is a little bit different, meaning that I no longer have to log on to the service server in order for me to perform these functions. I can actually do it pretty much offline. So that is the reason why it may show up as a bad entity. But nevertheless, nothing to fear. We're going to right click, run as administrator, and we'll be presented by this. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and not decline, we're going to accept. And rather than select, we're going to go to particular adjustment mode. Now notice I'm going through several steps here. And we get this other window appearing. So we're going to avoid all of this. This is all very highly technical stuff that only a service technician would have to address. All we care about is this item right here, waste ink pad counter. We're going to click on that, activate it, and click OK. We will then be brought to this window. We're going to click the boxes. There are two waste ink counters. The main one is the one that accounts for the waste ink generated when you run a cleaning cycle, a purge cycle, as you're installing cartridges. Every now and then you will run a so-called head repriming or purge cycle, and that will generate waste ink. That ink goes into the waste ink pads. Then there's a secondary waste ink producer, and that is when you print borderless. That ink is absorbed by the sponges along the platen. We activate both of them. We're going to go ahead and click on check. And it says the counter value has been read properly. And I'm very low. Okay, I'm almost as brand new condition. At this point, we're going to click on the initialization, and that will basically reset everything back to zero. We're not going to do that right now. All you have to do is click reinitialization and then turn off your printer, power it back on, and you are good to go. So that is that. You notice we had to go through various steps. And again, this type of file or application may scare some people because they think it's actually a bad entity. But it is not. It's just simply because it's going to access system files. And of course, it's going to do it kind of under the radar. So that's why it is read as a bad entity. We'll close everything up. Now let's go to our second choice. And that is the famous Wick Reset tool that's available from various companies. Like I said, octoink.co.uk sells waste ink kits or recovery kits that you install following their instructions for many printer models from EPSON. Unfortunately, you cannot do this on Canon printers, so only EPSON. So you open this simply by double clicking it. Here is the EPSON Stylus Pro-1000. We're going to go ahead and click on Read Waste Ink Counters. It reads them the same values as we had prior. And now, when we try to reset it, it's going to ask us for a serial activation code. The other one doesn't ask you for anything. It just performs the reset and you are basically done. You don't have to spend any money. This requires about $9.99, I believe, US, $10 US to be able to activate your printer. And this you do, gosh, I don't know, every several years. So well worth it. You can buy a reset key right here and then just copy and paste it onto this spot right here and then click OK. And then you will be able to reset. Again, you power the printer off, back on again, and you can recheck your settings and you will find them to be at the same level that I have, rather minimal. Okay, now we're going to go to the most easy, trouble-free way to reset these waste ink counters on these supported EPSON printers. And there's a list of all the supported printers in the inkchip.net website. If you click on the Wick tab, double click on it, it's going to open up like so. Waste ink counters. Click on that. Read the waste ink counters. It gives you the readings. Okay. And we're going to go back here. Reset. Enter the code. Click OK. Turn the printer off. Start it back up. You are done. That is it. Cost the same. The application is free. You can download it from the inkchip.net site and begin to use it after you purchase a reset key, which again is about $9.99, $10 US. That is it. How about that? Was that the easiest thing you ever saw? I believe it was. It doesn't get any better than that. They also provide a way to render many EPSON printers chipless, and that means that you will no longer have to rely on a chip. Yes, I just said that. You no longer rely on a chip. Your ink level indicators will always be full. So all you have to do, if you are already refilling these printers, is to maintain a proper level of ink. And a lot of these refillable cartridges are basically see-through. So you can tell right through the cartridge body whether you have ink or not. Now, there is a promo code that you can use, CHIPLESS Joe. You heard me, CHIPLESS Joe. And I believe they give you a discount. So, again, if you are getting close to that point, or even if you have no clue at what level your waste ink pads may be. And remember, this will not work on printers with user replaceable waste ink tanks, cartridges, or whatever you want to call them. Only on approved or supported printers that are listed on the WIC tab of the inkchip.net website. So have a look. Again, it will bring your printer back to life if it has reached that point. And often what happens when the printer saturation, waste ink saturation level reaches max, that doesn't necessarily mean the pads are saturated to the point that they will overflow. No, you can salvage it at that point, but I highly recommend that you then perform the operation to actually disconnect the tubes and then connect a longer piece of tubing or two and then feed those outside. I have done that on my R2000, my 1900, my 1400s, my 2880s. And when I had a 2200, I did that as well to them. In fact, I'm the one that developed the process, how to install them. Also the 2400. So any of those older or even slightly newer EPSON printers that do not have user replaceable waste ink cartridges can be reset to empty, basically, and brought back to life, which is something that will make you feel, well, supernatural almost when you perform that operation. Thank you so much. Don't forget, Chipless Joe, okay, when you purchase the serial activation codes from inkchip.net. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And as always, happy printing. And again, happy resetting of your printer's waste ink counters. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.